Welcome back to Second Recap. Today I will explain drama romance film Little Children, released in the year 2006. Before starting the film, make sure to subscribe and like this video. The movie begins in Boston. The news channels are talking about a man named Ronnie. He is a sex offender and he has been released after completing his sentence in prison. And that's why the people living in Boston are worried for their kids. The next day we see a woman named Sarah. She tries to talk to the other woman in the park. However, she is never successful in talking to them. She brings her 3-year-old daughter named Lucy to the park, so she can play with the other kids, which is a complete failure because she doesn't play with other kids. Still, she brings her kids to the park so that she can come out of her house. Because she is losing her mental stability, Sarah was upset about her life and couldn't focus on her daughter. Meanwhile, the other women think that Sarah is not a good mother. At that moment, Sarah sees a man named Brad, a law student. He comes to this park with his son Aaron. Moreover, Sarah notices that all the women in the park are waiting for Brad to come, so they can see him while he was not happy with his life. He takes care of his son the whole day, and at the end when his wife comes home, Brad thinks that his hard work is wasted. Although they love each other, they never get close and get intimate. Brad goes out of the house every night to study. However, he wastes all his time watching some boys skirting, and he wishes he could be young again like those boys. The next day in the park, Brad and Sarah start talking while playing with their kids. And at that moment, without any hesitation, Brad tells Sarah that his wife works and makes money, and he wants to be a lawyer but can't complete his studies. Sarah realizes that Brad is alone and wants to talk to someone. When he starts leaving, Sarah thinks that he should stay a little more, and that's why Sarah tells Brad that all the women in the park have belted that she can't be friends, and come close to Brad to win the bet. Brad and Sarah start kissing and shock all the women in the park. After that, Sarah couldn't forget Brad and always thought about him. On the other hand, Brad was also thinking about his kiss with Sarah, despite knowing that his wife Katie is more attractive than Sarah. The following morning when Brad goes to the park, he can't see anyone, and then he finds out that no one is coming to the park later for a few days. Brad doesn't meet Sarah. At night, Brad meets his friend Larry, who is a police officer. After that, he takes him to play rugby with his friends. Later, after the game, Brad comes. A woman finds out that Larry comes to Ronnie's house and harasses him every night. On the other hand, Sarah wasn't happy caring for her daughter all day. Nor was her husband Richard, because her husband has an addiction. He couldn't even focus on his work. And because of his addiction, his relationship with Sarah was destroyed. After some days, Sarah listens to her heart and takes her daughter to the swimming pool where Brad always goes. After that day, Sarah and Brad started meeting there, while their kids become friends. Meanwhile, Red and Sarah started to know each other and they started loving each other. However, they don't want to destroy their image in front of other people, so they keep their relationship limited to friendship. One day at the swimming pool, Ronnie starts swimming with the kids. At first, nobody knows or notices him. After some time, Sarah, Brad and all the other parents do see Ronnie, and out of fear take their kids out of the swimming pool. After that, the police take Ronnie away and he doesn't like that. After that, suddenly heavy rain starts, and that's why Brett and Sarah go to Sarah's house with the kids. Meanwhile, Brett starts looking into the books and sees his picture in one of the books. And after that, he couldn't control himself and started kissing Sarah. They get into a tent, start an affair. On the other hand, Ronnie lives with his mother and she believes that she can cure her son's disease. She must find a girl for him. Meanwhile, Ronnie knows that he is sick and he's a pedophile. And to make his mother happy, he agrees to go on a date with a girl named Sheila. However, with him, his mother was also being punished for his deeds. She wanted to clean Ronnie's image in front of the world. The following day, Brad was happy being with Sarah and playing rugby with his friends. On the other hand, Katie's mother tells her that Brad takes more time outside, which will destroy their relationship. Moreover, Brad was getting popular with Larry's friends, and Larry didn't like that because he considered himself lower than Brad. And later at night, he tells Brad that his wife left him. Ended at that moment, Brad tells him about Ronnie's swimming pool incident. When Larry hears that, he gets angry and goes to Ronnie's house. He tries to beat Ronnie in front of his mother, and at that moment, Ronnie's mother tells Larry that in the mall, Larry did something to a kid, which Ronnie would never have done. When Larry hears that, he starts leaving without saying anything. In the car, Larry tells Brad many years ago he had to get someone in the mall, and by mistake he shot a 13-year-old boy. He was informed that a boy was carrying a real gun, and after the boy's death, he found out that he was carrying a plastic toy gun, and he was playing with it, and after that he got so depressed that he had to resign from his police job. The following day, Sarah Sarah was spending all her time with Brad and they were getting intimate. Meanwhile, her friend knew about her affair and she would always make fun of her for her affair. However, Sarah knew she was searching for happiness and was happy in her affair with Brad, which is why she wasn't feeling guilty. With time, slowly Sarah was completely in love with Brad, and she couldn't see him with his wife, who was more attractive than her now. She wanted to live a free life where she could live with Brad, and nobody could object to their relationship. However, that was impossible. After some days, Ronnie goes on a date with Sheila, and she has been depressed for many years. She tells Ronnie about her problems and they both start liking each other. Everything was going smoothly and Sheila discovered Ronnie's truth. While during, she finds out that Ronnie likes kids, and after that Sheila never meets him again. On the other hand, Sarah has gone so deep into her affair that she has forgotten about her daughter. And one night when Aaron tells Katie that Brad spends most of his time with Lucy and her mother, and that's why she started doubting Brad. One day at night, Katie invited Sarah and Richard for dinner at her house. At the time, she understood that Sarah and Brett were closer than she thought. Meanwhile, Brad was confident that Katie did not doubt him. And the following day, Katie called her mother to her house. And Katie's mother was always stuck with Brad and went with him everywhere he went, and because of that Brad couldn't meet Sarah. Moreover, Brad was only left alone when going to a rugby match. When he starts playing, Sarah finds an opportunity and comes to meet him at the rugby game. They start kissing and then Brad tells her that he has never been so happy. Sarah replies that their relationship has no meaning and it's completely wrong. When Brad hears that, he says something for which Sarah has been waiting for a long time. He tells her that he wants to start a new life and spend his time with her, and he wants to run away with her from here. When Sarah hears that, she gets happy and agrees to run away with him. At the same time, Larry was waiting for the Brad to come, and when he didn't come to meet him, just like every day, Larry went to Ronnie's house and started shouting. Ronnie's mother comes down and her neighbors call the police to get him out of her house. While dealing with Larry, Ronnie's mother fell and she started getting a heart attack. After some time, the ambulance takes Ronnie's mother to the hospital, and the police arrest Larry. However, on the same night, Larry was released from prison. On the other hand, Ronnie was waiting for his mother in the hospital. When he heard the news of her mother's death, after that, when Ronnie goes home, he sees a letter from his mother telling him to be a better human. When Ronnie read the letter, he couldn't control himself and was completely broken. On the same night, Brad and Sarah plan to meet at the park and run away together. Before he can leave, Brett goes to his son Aaron and tells him that he loves him so much. After that, he writes a letter to his wife about why he left, and he decided to send it to her once he is gone. On the other hand, Sarah goes to the park with her daughter Lucy and starts waiting for Brad to come. At the same time, Larry goes to Ronnie's house to apologize for his mother's death. Meanwhile, Brad starts running toward the park. At that moment, Ronnie reaches the park before Brad. When Sarah sees him, she gets terrified. On the other hand, Brad was late because he saw those boys girding, and because they told him to go skating with him, he started skating, and in between he completely forgot about Sarah. While on the other hand, Sarah was scared of Ronnie. At that moment, when she sees Ronnie crying alone, she goes to talk to him and to console him, and suddenly Lucy disappears from there. When Sarah realizes that, she forgets about Brad and starts searching for Lucy. After a while, when she meets Lucy, she starts crying in front of her and realizes that living with Brad is not a destiny, and that is a beautiful dream that could never be real. She apologized to Lucy and took her back home. On the other hand, Brad fell while skating and got unconscious. When he became conscious, he was injured and realized he wanted to meet his wife Katie. That's why he told those guys to throw the letter away, which he had written for Katie. And at the end, when Larry goes to the park to apologize to Ronnie, he tells him that he blames himself for the death of his mother, and he further says that he is sorry for bothering him every night. And at that moment, Larry finds out that Ronnie has hurt himself. He instantly picks him up and takes him to the hospital, where Katie met Brad. Moreover, Larry, Brad, Katie, Sarah, they all have made mistakes in their past, and on that night they all understood that they have to move on and try to fix the future. Someday they have to make a start with that. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching the video. Like and subscribe for more. See you next time.